Hi, my name is Bella Carrasco, and helping others feel confident about investing brings a huge smile to my face. After working in the private equity, family office, and securities markets for nearly a decade, I am breaking down the world of money, investing, and financial freedom. Work optionality isn't a dream, it's a decision you make today. I bring you actionable tips, expert interviews, and enlightening strategies to help you get richer and stay that way. This is the How Do You Know podcast. And this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Please consult with a qualified financial professional for advice specific to your situation. The views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the podcast producers or sponsors. We make no representations or warranties regarding the accuracy or completeness of the content. Today, we are tackling health. Better health means fewer costly mistakes because understanding your body's health, especially how you respond to stress, can directly impact your financial decision making. So chronic financial stress can trigger physical symptoms like high blood pressure, poor sleep, weakened immunity, which in turn can cloud judgment, reduce focus, and lead to impulsive or short-sighted financial choices. I am so excited to bring on Alicia to talk about health because she's a naturopathic doctor, functional medicine practitioner, sports nutritionist, certified personal trainer, and speaker. And her experience lies with working with busy, stressed, ambitious women who are committed to look, feel, and perform their best by addressing hormones and metabolism. So, Alicia, thank you so much for your time today.
What a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much.
Can we start with how have you seen stress affect someone's life? I know you've worked with many clients at this point.
Totally. It affects everything, and not just high stress, but also when we get into low stress and these symptoms of extreme burnout that we find our clients in. So a lot of my clients end up coming to me because the weight gain, but that's often that last symptom where they're like, okay, I finally have to do something. I'm not feeling good in my body, good in my clothes. Like, let's take action. But often the signs before that are exhaustion, where you're waking up in the morning, whether you slept or didn't slept, you're just tired. There's a lot
Mhm.
of mood issues going on. So typically we'll see irritability or very short with the people that are closest to you, like maybe your partner, your kids, your family, your mother. So it's that snapping. And then often minor inconveniences in the day will set you off. So it could be something like the doorbell rang, your dog barked, speaking from experience, and it just like completely dysregulated you, or you're stuck in traffic, or maybe an unexpected bill comes in and you just get into this really dysregulated state. Now, it can be more widespread, like skin issues, hair loss, premature aging. The effects of stress are so widespread that people don't often know that they're actually experiencing a dysregulated system.
And it's almost like these small things, as you alluded to it, almost feel like they're just a normal part of life. And so you almost don't even realize that these are actually stress signals. So I'm glad that you brought up the small things because we should probably pay attention to those more than we think.
Yes, definitely.
What do you see as the most common problem with high achievers?
Yeah, I find that with high achievers, and we built a very successful life on paper, it's often the people that do either extensive schooling or they are trying to climb the corporate ladder, or entrepreneurs are crazy. I always say, like, we're kind of crazy to go into our own business because there's so many stressors on top of that. But high achievers often will push themselves so far past burnout and then they're completely flatlined. They have a lot of core wounds. Sometimes high achievers will have like almost like a traumatic core wound, or when they were growing up, they were taught that rest makes you weak, or it's not good to chill, or you have to be working really hard in order to be worthy and valuable. And so these things will carry you to success. They'll make you go do the undergrad or the graduate, start your own business, or go for the top position at the job. And that's amazing. But we have to be very careful that we take the values that we've instilled in ourselves, hard work, ambition, purpose, And then also make sure that we're anchoring in to I am valuable, I am worthy to take space for. It's okay for me to prioritize my health. Yes, I can have these really big, lofty, ambitious goals, but it's also okay for me to value myself, my health, my importance, my ability to rest. And when we can balance those things perfectly, then you're going to be happy, you're going to feel energized, you're going to feel calm, and you get to be wildly successful.
That reminds me of the book One Thing by Gary Keller. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but he encourages people to look at their calendar for the year and force yourself to take breaks, whether that's a vacation that you put in the calendar at the start of the year, whatever it looks like for you, because it seems counterintuitive, but if you do rest, if you do take care of yourself, then you can come back better, faster, stronger, which feels, like I said, counterintuitive, but it's so important. And if we can just implement that in our daily lives somehow, then we can actually be more productive than if we were to just chase this burnout sort of feeling.
One of my first mentors, he actually looked at my schedule and he's like, the only thing that I'm going to mentor you on right now is you need to take a vacation. It doesn't have to be a week. Like it could be 4 days, Alicia. You need to go. And at the
Yeah.
time I went from naturopathic school, working 25 hours a week, like 60-hour weeks, to going to run my business where I was waking up at 3 in the morning just to get a yoga practice in, working
Yeah.
all day until bedtime, and then hired this mentor. And he's like, you can't keep running off of this. And I'm like, I'm 20 something. I can do whatever I want. But good thing,
Invincible.
yes, you're invincible when you're in your young 20s. But good thing he did, because I started to really prioritize that and I only felt better.
Right. Yeah, similar to that vision that you just described, I feel like a lot of people listening could be in those similar high stress situations. Maybe work was stressful, then they have to go home to their family and still be on. And I know you have some killer stress regulation tips. Can you walk us through one or two that might be helpful for people?
Totally. I think this is such an important thing when you start your day and then you're moving through a lot of transitions in your day. So you wake up, if you have kids, if you don't have kids, whatever that looks like, some of us just wake up and we're like, go, go, go from the start. So I'm always just like to tell people, look at the transitions in your day. So wake up to when maybe your kids get up, or wake up to when you're with your spouse, or wake up after you finish your morning routine and you start work. And then you go through the work day. And then when you're coming home, whoever you're going home to, even if it's your dog or your partner or your kids, those transitions in the day really matter and you want to reset. So I like to do some sort of technique there to like shake off the stress from that previous situation. Even if it didn't feel stressful, we're all carrying around a certain amount of stress with us. Because if we don't, I describe stress as this plastic wrap that gets layered on our body. And if we don't do the work to just release it, it gets layered and layered and layered, and we become this big bubble ball of stress. And eventually, with stress, it's a trigger ball explosion. And so, I don't know if you've ever had this situation where maybe you're in Starbucks and someone spelled your name wrong and you were already stressed out. So you kind of like snapped and made like a passive aggressive comment. And then the barista who made it is also stressed, not dealing with it. So then the next person they talk to, they're a little bit edgy and give them too. And so it's this trigger ball that happens all day because we're not properly releasing the stress. So
Yeah.
very easy techniques to do. I love the physiological sigh where you take a big inhale through your nose and then another inhale, hold it for a second, and then exhale throughout your mouth. It is so amazing for just calming down the nervous system. And you only need to do 2 or 3 of these to really feel grounded. I like stress shakes. So just actually shaking out the stress in your body kind of looks a little ridiculous if you're at work. But if you're in the car or just about to walk through the door, you can do a shaking out routine. A big butterfly hug where you're tapping back and forth. So you hug yourself tight and then you tap your shoulders left, right, left, right. These are amazing. Anything, yeah, it's so soothing. Anything that's rocking behavior is
Mm.
going to help calm us down as well. And these are the quick things that you want to do, but also really looking at what are your core wounds around stress. I grew up as a fourth generational farmer, so I have these core wounds that stress makes me weak. Oh, sorry,
Mm.
rest makes me weak, and that
Yes.
if I'm not doing, I'm not worthy. So you have to repattern those, because a lot of high achievers, high performers, we are kind of addicted to that stress cycle, and we'll
Yeah.
fall back into those patterns of more, 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 got to do more. So you really have to look at taking the values that we love, ambition, drive, success, and then also understanding where they came from and where some healing needs to happen so that we can have both vital health, prioritizing our health, and success.
And it's almost like kind of what you were saying earlier too. In your 20s, you feel invincible, but then it, like you were saying, that plastic wrap just like keeps on building on itself, and then it comes in the form of maybe it is a health issue or something else, weight or whatever it may be. And then it, at that point, it can be reversible, maybe it's irreversible. So just trying to mitigate as much as you can as early as you can is a very beautiful thing that should be prioritized. But I like what you said about transitions and how you started answering that question, because we all can find those little moments. And I know it's hard for us to maybe fit those in our schedules, but I like the framing of when you're transitioning. I think that's a very easy thing to do. And I also appreciate that everything that you just mentioned doesn't take 30 minutes, an hour. It's literally 30 seconds. You can do it anywhere. If it is at work, just go to the bathroom and do it and shake yourself out there. But they're very, very easy things to just start incorporating in your day.
Yeah, and that's the problem I find with high achievers is we always want to add on more to our schedule. So even when I was recognizing the connection between stress and my weight gain and burnout, I was just trying to do more yoga, more meditation, more supplements, more, and not really realizing, okay, the issue isn't more, it's actually doing less and the way that I approach the energy of it. Because if
Right.
I'm approaching my stress release protocol from a position of I need to do more and there's like this perfectionism type A energy to it, I'm just going to mess everything up. So if I can say, okay, what can I do less of? Where can I be more efficient in my day? Where is there more space? And then small little things that are adding, very easy to add into the day, that's actually going to heal me way deeper than adding in 5 hours of meditation a day. Don't we
Yeah,
wish?
exactly. And I know some people do like coping with these stressful situations through alcohol. They like going home and just having a glass of wine or maybe a beer. Would you say alcohol is acceptable from a health perspective, or are there, I'm sure there's competing views on it?
My personal opinion for myself is I don't drink. I haven't
Mhm.
drank in a very long time. Would I, if the situation arrived, I found myself sitting at a wedding where I was completely alone with a bunch of people I never knew, and I ended up drinking socially quite a bit a few years ago. So there's going to be situations where it does happen, and I don't think we should shame or beat ourselves up around it, but it definitely is not a core part of my life at all. I don't drink to
Yeah.
relax because it actually does the opposite effect. I don't really drink to be social anymore. But if that's something that you enjoy, it's not necessarily about cutting it out completely. I will look at the reasons why you're doing it. For the women that are doing it to relax at the end of the day, this I do see to be quite problematic because it's going to impact your sleep, your mood. Nutrient depletion is actually going to make everything worse. But in
Yeah.
terms of socially drinking, I mean, if you enjoy it, I don't want to beat it down. Is it a neutral substance? Definitely not. It definitely has consequences to it. But I think there's things we can do to mitigate it if it's something that you enjoy doing and it brings you pleasure socially sometimes.
Beautifully said. And I think society now is kind of actually gearing more towards the non-alcoholic drinks. And I think we are starting to realize that alcohol isn't always the answer. So, to your point, socially, if you enjoy it, great. But do keep in mind that there's no neutral effects of alcohol. And if you're trying to use it as a stress reducer, it actually could enhance the stress. So, again, like you were alluding to, don't have to cut it out if it brings you joy, but just keep that in the back of your mind.
Totally. Yeah, and I'd always tap up with some nutrients, some B complex, magnesium the next day and really prioritize electrolytes and hydration if you're
Yeah.
gonna go for it on a summer night. But if you can avoid it, I love a kombucha and I would bring that with me. People don't pressure me anymore. They
Mhm.
just know Alicia doesn't drink. But I would bring a kombucha or like electrolyte mix with me because it's nice when you're in a social situation to hold on to something. I find I'm
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I know for me, I was experiencing the same thing when I decided not to be drinking socially anymore. People are always trying to shove alcohol down your throat. They feel like you're not having a good time because you're not drinking, and you're like, no, I'm doing this to myself. So I
Yeah.
found that just having like a little carbonated water with some lemon or lime in it kind of helps ease all of that. And like you said, it's just nice to hold something.
Totally. People are funny about that. They're just like, I need you to drink with me.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, I want to interrupt for a quick second because I am a big believer in emulating off of who you want to be. And I've gone through Christopher's program at Wealth Ops where he truly gives you the education you need to help you manage wealth like a microfamily office. I encourage you to take a second to read his article or visit his website at wealthops.io that will be linked as well. Okay, thanks. Back to it. Moving on to more of the naturopathic side of things, some people might not know what naturopathic doctors are and how they differ. Can you explain the difference and why you think it's a better option?
Yeah, we're trained in conventional and alternative medicine. So really what naturopaths are doing is finding the root cause of why you have X symptoms. So if you're having an acne flare up, it's often not the skin, it's liver, it's gut, it's stress response, it's nutrient deficiencies, it's something else going on. So I think of us as those people, the detectives, the health detectives that are going deeper and not just looking at, okay, you have a rash. Why do you have that rash? Or you have bloating. Sometimes bloating isn't even in the gut. There's something else going on. So I think that's a big thing that we're doing is looking at the whole story of a person, not just that snapshot, the skin, the one symptom. When I used to go to my doctor's office, there was this big board in the office saying one symptom only. And if you have other symptoms, book another appointment. So that's kind of the way conventional medicine has gone. And it's beautiful sometimes. It can solve a lot of issues. But then we have this population, a lot of times women who are experiencing hormonal problems, PMS problems, then they've got stress, then they've got anxiety, then they've mood, then low libido, then their hair's falling out. And so it's not just one thing that's happening. It's something, a root cause that is going on. And what we want to try and do is find out what is happening and then how do we fix that on that level so that these symptoms can be resolved.
And I saw a stat where it says the US is 5% of the world's population, but we consume 80% of the world's drug use and pharmaceutical usage. So, in my opinion, I think that drugs do a really good job of masking your pain, which is great. It's doing its job there. But then you still have that underlying root cause, and you can only put so many band-aids on the issue before it can get worse. So I think that's why I believe in naturopathic doctors is trying to find the root cause and cutting it at the root so that way it doesn't have a chance to grow even.
Totally, exactly. Often the medications can be really great short term. Someone has depression or anxiety, but it is like a branch. It's treating the branch of the tree instead of going down into the roots and fixing the fertilizer, the soil, or whatever is happening on that root level.
Yes, exactly. And an extension of that is being able to give yourself appropriate fuel. So, structuring meals, for example, is very crucial for health. Some of us eat too many carbs or fat. What would you advise someone to think about when they're structuring their plate?
Yeah, I'm a protein first kind of girl. You fit in all our protocols. It's for women, women's hormones, women's stress response, for anyone with stress response, it is protein first. So if I'm going to look at that plate, I want to find the protein. Is there substantial protein? If you're tracking, it's like over at least over 30 grams or your fist, palm size, I would say, of your hand
Mm,
in protein source. My next thing is always where are the anti-inflammatory fats? And I find anti-inflammatory fats very quick, simple things that you have just laying around. They don't require much work to prepare. An avocado, I mean, if you can get an avocado at the right timing, excellent, which can be hard to do. But if you can nail it, that's awesome. An avocado, olive oil, almond butter, peanut butter, nuts and seeds. These are things that require no prep at all and just are hanging out in your fridge, cupboards, somewhere. Very quick to access. That would be my number two thing. With carbs, I want to look at carbs in terms of where you are for females in your cycle, or if you're non-cyclical, then according to the amount of exercise and the intensity of the exercise that you're doing. And that's going to dictate to me how many carbs you need to actually fuel your body. More intense exercise, think like marathon runners, are going to require a higher carb demand, whereas everyone else, I would say moderate to a little bit lower carb, depending on their adrenal status, is going to be the best chance of success.
I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions around all of these different health mindsets or tips that people have gotten. What is the most common misconception you see in regards to what people think about what quote unquote living healthy means?
I think this goes back to that I need to do more attitude. And with this population, the stressed out, the busy, the ambitious, the taking on too much, that
Yeah.
more becomes more chaotic and it becomes more dysregulating to think every single hour of your day, something needs to be in there, whether it's cold immersion, whether it's a walk. These things are both so beautiful to help with our health. But if your mindset going into it is, I need to fit this all into my day, and you're starting to get really stressed out if you missed that walk, or you didn't do
Yeah.
your plunge that day, or you didn't sauna because some girl on Instagram told you that's what you need to do, then it feels so dysregulating. So instead, I like to say, have your non-negotiables. Like for me, a morning and afternoon walk is a non-negotiable. It has to get done. And that's the thing that I really make sure to prioritize in my day. And I just have enough non-negotiables that even in my busiest days, I can get to them. And then
Mhm.
everything else is extra. And I always tell my high achieving clients, you want to take things really, really slow. Because if we come at you and say, here are 15 things that I need you to do tomorrow, you're going to do them because you are a high performer. You're going to get it done. However, you are going to feel so dysregulated doing it. So everything that you add into your life has to feel, I like to say, as effortless as breathing. If I tell you to do something, I've got to be able to fit into your life so effortlessly, so smooth that it becomes easy to do, easy to maintain. And that's how we're going to start shifting things that you don't feel overwhelmed and you can maintain that high performance lifestyle without collapsing because of all the health things that you think you have to do.
I've definitely been guilty of that. Like, have to fit my sauna in, have to fit my walk in. Oh my gosh, I didn't get to this or that. So I'm glad that you brought that up too. I think it's a very important point. And I was actually going to ask how you balance your own wellness while trying to grow your business. And so would you point to the non-negotiables?
Yeah, and I'm really thankful that my business is health related. So everything that I do to support my health actually supports my business too. So thankfully that works out for me, but it does come down to really understanding what your values are. And this is a thing we'll have with people that come into our protocols is they say they want the end goal, but their values are quite different from what the end goal is.
Hmm.
So you might have someone that's like, I really want to get my stress under control. I'm super snappy with my partner. I want to lose this weight, but they're still prioritizing drinks every night with their friends or pizza every night with their husband. And the values are just a little bit of a mismatch. So
Yeah.
when we're thinking about these goals and these end results that we want, we also want to look at what are your top 3 values. And if your health isn't the top 3, you're not going to get those results. Whereas for me, my family, my business, my health are my top 3. So it's very easy for me to say, I'm going to do this morning walk no matter what, because it's such a high value for me.
We need to do a self-reflection on what we want versus what we value. Exactly what you just said, because when we do take the time to do that, it can be a very enlightening exercise. And another thing I know that high performers may struggle with is sleep. So sometimes they just want to sleep, but they have things on their mind at night that keeps them up. How can someone sleep like a king or queen?
So keeping that room super cool, like very, very cold, I'm going to say dark. And it's funny. We actually had an all black bedroom when we first moved into this house. I painted
Oh,
it
that's
all
great.
black, ceiling, walls, like blackout curtains was so black. And then we did an addition and we moved upstairs and we got this electrical blinds and they're blackout blinds, but they have just a little sliver of light that gets through. So
Mm.
I know. And so I'm like, I can sleep with this. This is fine. But then we also got these light switches that my friend did the electrical and he recommended getting them. And they just have this glow that you can actually see each other's faces at nighttime. So right now, because we have the baby in the room with us, we've gone around and the room looks awful. It's got sheets in between all the little strips of the windows. We have a patio window, there's sheets there. All the light switches are taped up. So, and the baby's now sleeping super, super good. I'm sleeping way better. So it's as dark as you can get that room. Like you shouldn't even be able to see your hand in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you are having night lights, which I do recommend having maybe a night light beside the bed to turn on if you have to go to the bathroom, or night lights in the bathroom, use a red light instead. Right before bed, keeping the lights as dim as possible or switching to more of a red lights if you can. I love for sleep L-theanine, and I love lavender. Those are my two favorite. If you've got racing thoughts and you can't seem to get a handle on them, those two can really bring us down. And then I love if you're lying in bed and your day is just there and you're repeating things or ruminating or worrying about what's coming up tomorrow. I love to do this exercise where you really ground yourself into a safe space. So mine is, I have this big tree that I visualize with my dogs or people that I love hanging around the tree. And then I imagine doors coming up around me, and I'm taking situations that I'm thinking about. So maybe it's a work meeting for tomorrow. I put that situation in the door and I just close the door. And I do this exercise until I can look around me and there's nothing floating around. No thoughts, no memories, no worries. They're all in the doors. It might take you 15 minutes to put everything away, but it's just a very powerful exercise to clean out, clear your mind, and allow yourself to fall into that deep sleep.
Everyone can have their own tree, or maybe some people it's the beach, but yeah, it's that visual of putting it away, letting it float down the river into the ocean, whatever it is for you. But it's funny what you mentioned about the dark room, because even if I have like a little clock that has those lights on it, I can't. It's like it's too bright for me. So I always just have to put like a t-shirt over my eyes, because of course the eye masks are too tight, and then that's just not a good situation either. So I'm very much so a princess when it comes to dark rooms.
You have to be. There's so much research too that shows the connection between the quality of your sleep and the amount of lux that
Yeah.
you're experiencing. And when we travel, I've become a sleep snob. Like we'll go to a certain resort and I'm like, man, don't they know that the light is drifting in the bottom of the curtains at 3 in the morning and you're
Yeah.
not getting sleep?
Yeah, exactly. Before we end, I wanted to also get into the law of attraction, which you talk about and I believe in wholeheartedly. Can you explain what that is and why we tend to be bad at this?
Yeah, we tend as humans to really think about things that we don't want. So things that we fear, things that we just don't want. So I don't want to gain any more weight. I don't want to be tired. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want my car to break down. And so when we start thinking about this, we really get into this dark, mucky energy of attracting more of what we don't want. So you can have your brain either fixated on something that you do really want or something that you don't want. And so fixating on what we don't want actually is pushing you in the direction of pulling in things that you don't want. So instead, I like to do this flip with everything because we're naturally programmed, in my opinion, to know what we don't want. It's way easier to be like, I don't like this feeling. It just feels, you feel it in your body. I don't like
Yeah.
this. And so when I'm in that situation, you could have a job that you don't like, maybe a financial situation that you're in that you don't like, even your car. Let's say you have a car and you don't like your car. It's not about obsessing and saying, I hate my car, I hate the radio, I hate the AC doesn't work, I hate that it feels bumpy, I hate that. Instead of thinking about that, you flip it to, I'm so grateful for this car because it gets me to where I need to be. But I also want a car with massager seats. I want a car with a heated steering wheel. I want a car with a radio that plays. And this is the flip that you want to do with everything. If you're in a job right now, you might hate it. You feel it in your body, but you can say, I'm so grateful that this job is paying me X amount per week. I can afford my rent with it, or I'm able to save, or I can go on vacation with this job. I also desire a job with more flexibility that I can work from home. I desire a double pay raise. I desire to be in a management position. I desire to have X amount of money, so I'm putting it into savings. So you're taking this situation where you obviously don't want to be in it anymore. It sucks. It doesn't feel good in your body. And you're showing a gratitude because we can always find something about the situation that we can be grateful for. And then not doing any kind of fake positivity. I don't like that. We're just looking at, what don't I like in that situation? What do I want instead? And now I'm fixating on, what do I want instead? And women, we do this with our bodies all the time. We look in the mirror and we're like, I hate this jiggle. I hate this roll. This doesn't look good. My one boob is doing a weird thing. We rip it apart. And instead we can say, no, I'm so thankful that my 2 feet got me to work today. That's something I'm so grateful that I can breathe. I'm so grateful there's something we can find about our body. And then saying, and I want to feel toned. I want to feel leaner. I want to feel a 6-pack. I want to feel confident in my body. I want to look in the mirror and be proud of what I see. And so immediately that's taking us from feeling small, constrictive, into this expansive energy of desire.
It's funny too, because even when you're talking and you're talking negative, I'm like, oh, no, stop talking, please. I don't want to hear that anymore. And then when you flip it positively, it just like brings up this new emotion where I'm feeling enlightened and motivated and positive. So I feel like a lot of us don't realize how these little comments, even though kind of what we started the conversation with, these small little things that we don't really realize can actually eat at us, and it's in our subconscious and we don't realize how impactful they actually are. So even if you are in the worst of situations, just finding that one little bright light, as silly as it may seem, or even just trying to focus on gratitude any point throughout your day, can really impact you for the better.
Totally. And gratitude is one of those feelings, like appreciation. And we can find it around us, even if we're in the suckiest situation ever, where it just like sucks so bad. You can look outside and say, I'm grateful for that tree in my front lawn.
Right.
I'm grateful for my dog. I'm grateful for a house. Like, I'm grateful that I had a parent that supported me. Like, so you can always find just something, even if it's, I'm grateful that I saw a butterfly today. And that can change your energy completely. Another thing that I love to do is a cancel. So if I'm noticing those thoughts drift in where it's, I suck, I'm not doing enough, I'm not good enough, like I should be doing more, I should be further ahead, cancel. And that's just that reminder to you that that thought and the train of thought and where it's going and how it's going to snowball into this very negative spiral is not serving me in this moment. Cancel, let's start again.
I like that. It's even fun to say, cancel. Yeah, even as silly as it seems to some people, like, just finding the most insignificant thing to be grateful for, I would encourage everyone to at least try it, because you do feel the positive effects in your body.
Yes. Finding like $1 on the ground.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll have more of this.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Any more out there?
Take it all.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's end with my quick 3-question fire round. We'll start with your favorite trip you've taken.
Favorite trip? I am a Costa Rica girl.
Ooh.
Anywhere we've gone to Costa Rica, we got married, we got engaged, we got all the things.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so anytime I'm back there, it's the best trip ever.
That's so fun. Are you a surfer?
I'm not a surfer.
Okay. That's the first time I ever went surfing was in Costa Rica, and there was like this pura vida lifestyle over there that's just so beautiful and infectious. So I can totally relate to why you like Costa Rica.
It's so infectious. Yes.
Second question is your favorite restaurant.
Favorite restaurant is actually anything in Costa Rica as well. It's every time we go there, the food is just so fresh and pure and like made with love, and it's so in alignment with how I eat. And I find at restaurants where I'm from, it's like you can't really get that alignment there. I have to search for it. I have to actually put in effort. But when I go there, everything's high protein, anti-inflammatory fats. It's just perfect.
Isn't it amazing? You go to a restaurant and it's so hard to find protein. It blows my mind every time. But to your point, when there's least resistance when you go to other places, it's so great. Like, you hear so many people have that same experience in Europe, and you even look at a bag of chips between here and over there, and it's a little bit different. And I won't get down that rabbit hole.
Totally agree.
The last question is, what is your favorite book?
I am The Woman, Kristen Hanna. I think The Woman. It's like the best book. I love anything that she does. There's such emotionally captivating storylines that draw you in and make me not sleep for 5 days.
Yeah, you just can't put it down. That's awesome. I'll have to take a look. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, so good.
Well, Alicia, thank you again. Why and how should people reach out to you?
Yeah, I'm a big Instagram person, so you can find me at Dr. Alicia McPherson or on Facebook, Alicia McPherson.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again for your time today. I do hope that people realize how stress and better health can lead to better financial decision making, better relationships, better work, and all those things that make you who you are. So until next time, adios. Thank you for tuning in today. If you found any value and want to support the podcast, I would be forever grateful if you texted someone the link. You can say that you have a podcast episode that may be interesting for them. Also, if you have questions or topics you want covered, please don't hesitate to reach out on LinkedIn or Instagram. Remember that every step makes a difference. I hope that you continue to learn how to get richer and stay that way.